Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Fan Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kelber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday night as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday Wham. And I'm going to have everybody do a very quick introduction of themselves. I'm your host tonight, Barb Kelberg. I am the creator, inker, and colorist and writer for Divinity. And I'm the CFO of Silverline Comics. I ink Cat and Mouse, and I'm also inking the Super Secret project, inking it over Rob Davis. Martin.
Hey, I'm Martin, and I colored this wonderful book called Wolf Hunter, and I'm working on number 2, and I got to get that hammered out as fast as possible because Roland is on my neck, breathing down it hot. So I am going to be hammering out the rest of those pages as soon as I can because it is behind. The Cat and Mouse looks like this, folks. Great book, awesome book. So that's me. And the venerable Rob Davis, what do you do?
Whatever I can get away with. Seriously, I did, back in the 80s and 90s, I did Star Trek Deep Space Nine for Malibu. I did some other stuff for Innovation and Marvel and some other stuff, but for Silverline, I did the Twilight Grim miniseries with R.A. Jones that one of these days is going to show up in previews so that everyone out there can get their copies if they missed the Kickstarters way back when. But and as Barb mentioned, I am working on a secret project for Silverline that will, once we get maybe the first issue done, we can talk more about, actually call it out. But I'm also
working on that. I'm working on that today, by the way.
Well, good. I think I'm about 3 pages ahead of you. And while I'm waiting for you to catch up, I'm going to try and finish up Boston Bombers, which I've been working on bouncing back and forth. I've got 2 pages left on issue 2 of that with Ron Forney. That I'm gonna pump those out real quick, and then I can jump into our secret project full force for a while, and maybe get that first issue done, and off to you. But now let's hand it off to Haley.
Martin.
Hi, I'm Haley Martin. I'm the creator, artist, writer for Heroic Shenanigans, and for Silverline, I do the art for Bear and the colors for the Rejects and the Obsoletes. And the Obsoletes, I just started working on the colors for issue 3, so get excited to see that sometime soonish. So, yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, a couple of days ago, speaking of Roland being on your back, he's like, he messages me. He says, "Where's the 3rd cover for Sirens?" What color? What cover for Sirens? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes, that other cover by John Drury. I'm like, I've never seen that cover in my life. I'm like, okay.
Hey, Kasisi!
Hey, sorry.
Shooting
Sorry,
it to you
I
right
was still
now.
at work, so.
Joining in the car. Wow. Awesome.
Or
What do you do,
wanna-
Kasisi?
Yeah, want to introduce yourself?
Pardon me?
What do you do?
So I'm Kasisi.
Go.
Sorry. I'm Kasisi Harris, formerly on the Tuesday show, now over here on the Wednesday show. Thank you guys for having me. I've written a story in, I think, a Christmas special in 2021 for Trumps for Silverline, and then currently working on a new Silverline team up, which will have Tempest and Miss Fury in it. So, and a new character.
And what are you editing?
And editing Divinity. Thank
Yep.
you, Barb.
Wait. Who's Tempest?
Tempest?
You
So
say
she was
Tempest?
with Silver Dollar. Yeah, if you go way back, there's a volume 1 where Silver Dollar and Tempest kind of teamed up. She controls the wind. Model
Ooh.
Natalia. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so there's a book
Okay.
with Tempest and Miss Fury coming out. It's a team-up book
Yes, it's a team up. Yeah,
for Silverline.
for Silverline. Yep.
Wow, this is
Coolness.
news to me. Well, folks, you heard it here
News to
first.
me.
Yeah.
This is the
Think-
first I'd heard of that particular one too. I knew we were going to do more team up books, but that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. That's already started.
Yeah.
So how far along are you?
So the first script is already written, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know, I actually the second one too, but that still needs to go through the editing process with the man Roland, right?
Who edits you, Roland?
Yeah. Tell me how much I suck. I need to practice dialogue more. Yeah.
Well, tonight we are going to talk about dead parents. Yay! What a fun subject.
I know.
Yeah, it's such an uplifting subject we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is
While we talk about that, hello,
Hey,
Jose.
Hey, Jose.
Hey.
Here. Oh, hi, Jose. You just popped up. Right. The dead parent, the trope of superheroes having dead parents as a motivation is a really common theme in many superhero stories. But I also find it even worse, if, in my personal opinion, in Disney stories. There are dead parents littered everywhere throughout Disney. I mean, I've never seen so many dead parents. The first one I was ever exposed to when I was a kid was Bambi's mom got shot. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you guys think it's such a popular trope?
Well,
they're
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
Go.
Kasisi. No.
Nope.
I'm bad about jumping in. Go ahead. You go.
No, it's okay. So am I. I was gonna say, if you're looking for things that people can quickly relate to and have an emotional response
There
from,
you go.
there's a
It's
quick
relatable.
connection, right? Everybody,
Yeah.
no matter how you feel about your parents, you have them, right? And so the death of them will spark some sort of emotion and quick connection with an audience. I think
Yeah.
it kind of gets overused after time, right? Like, over time, how many parents got to die, like, gosh. But but it is a quick connection with your audience, and then you can do anything you want. It'll elicit some big emotional response that can awaken a power, that can move you to some action very quickly. Yeah.
That's one of the answers I'm looking for. Relatability. I have actually 5 things I'm looking for, but
That's
that was
exactly
one.
where I was going to go. So yeah, I don't have to go there now.
Well, there are other reasons. What do you think, Haley?
I would think maybe like if a lot of these stories, like especially the Disney movies, are meant for kids, so the main characters are like kids or are somewhat young, then having parents like it feels wrong to say it this way, but like get in the way, if it's like a young person going on this adventure, if they don't have any parents to like
Yeah,
protect them and
yeah.
stop them, if the parents were there, then maybe this story wouldn't even happen. So
That
it kind of gives
is-
room for, in a sad way, it gives room for the kids to take center stage and go off on like maybe a dangerous adventure that they wouldn't need to if their parents were around or their parents wouldn't let them, whatever.
That is a very observant statement, and I'm going to read a little blurb that I found today. It says, traditionally, the role of a hero's parents in classic literature was to die. Or at least get out of the way, which is exactly what you said. They have to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Forcing the protagonist into his journey of self-discovery, the orphan's triumphant rise. And do you know who said that? Neil Gaiman.
Oh wow.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
Good
they need to
observation.
get out of the way so that the hero can progress.
Yeah.
So how about you, Martin?
Well, I think I'm gonna build off of Haley a little bit there. Part of it is getting the parents out of the way, but it's also it immediately throws the character into adversity,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now the character
Yeah.
now has some sort of adversity that they need to conquer, or they have to like. So even if it's as simple as just getting over the fact that the parents died, they have a struggle that they need to deal with, and so dependent on where you put the person in the story, how near or far from the parent's death, that struggle is always kind of going to be persistent, sitting in the background. That kind of ends up either poking them and prompting every single action that they do, or it's going to be something that they have to fight with right from the get-go. So yeah, so it's just easy to get immediate adversity into or conflict into the story, so that there's some sort of
One of my
something.
number 4 point was vulnerability and complexity. So that's pretty much what you just said. They need to have something to overcome.
But even if we don't focus on it being because I think my brain automatically goes to the tragic death or the Batman murder kind of parents
Mhm.
tale. But even if
Yeah.
it wasn't that tragic, it does represent, to your guys' point, the passing of the torch. So even when it's prepared for, and it's kind of like I expected my parents' death in this way, it's the passing of the torch from the old to the new, right? So
Yeah.
even in a less tragic way, it's kind of like the baton handoff.
Sort
new
of, yeah.
thing.
That's a really good point of view. And have you noticed that all the parents that die along the way, they're always really good parents. You know? They always have, I mean, the heroes always have really fond memories of them because the parents, I mean, just were fantastic parents. They did everything right. They spent time with their kids and they taught them invaluable lessons and the heroes or your character in the story, they take away these lessons and it helps them through the adversity that they're facing. They come out the other side better people.
I mean, even if they weren't nice, right? I think Daredevil's dad wasn't nice, right? Daredevil's dad was kind of like, I mean,
The
maybe
abusive guy?
he only has fond memories of him, but
He redeemed himself at the end by not taking a dive as the only
Right.
thing. Before that, he was just a ruthless boxer. But at some point, he turned around and refused to take the dive, and that's what killed him. Is becoming a good person. So that's an added level of conflict added in there that gave it that much level more complexity, as you mentioned. Barb.
Yes.
That adds a level of complexity.
Mhm.
Then there are cases of parents who pass and are replaced by a step parent.
Or
Say-
parental substitute.
Yeah,
Like
like
Alfred.
Cinderella,
Mhm.
Cinderella, and who had the stepmother, and so that adds any good story's got some sort of conflict in it, and that adds that puts a conflict, takes it away from them personally by it not being their actual parent, but a substitute parent that they could come into conflict with.
Or they have a
So-
mentor, a parental figure that they turn to,
like
Alfred
Obi-Wan
from Batman.
Kenobi.
Yeah,
like
Obi-Wan Kenobi,
in the Star
Alfred.
Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they either have a step that they, or whatever, a foster that they don't get along with, or they have a parental substitute who takes up the slack and carries them through.
Gives them, helps them through the life lessons that the story is telling. Yeah.
And the parents are really only in the stories, I think, to cause angst for the hero. So he can emote.
Yeah.
He can emote. If they're loving and supporting, then I'm sorry, that's like a red shirt on track. You got to.
hang on though. Hang on. The Incredibles pulled it off very well.
They did.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think having parents in the stories.
But did you see the grandparents?
Just a generation back.
Did you see the parents of the parents? No.
Well, if they have abusive parents, then they got to go on the run from them.
Well,
And
yeah, like or yeah. Yep.
And
Yeah, there's
all right,
different permutations of it. Yep.
one of the 5 points that I found was establishing empathy. I think anybody can empathize with loss in some form or another. So having a character in a book who has experienced loss, you imagine you immediately empathize with them, and want their lives to be better than the loss you've suffered. Do you agree, Kaz?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is dependent on the age of the protagonist, right? The younger they are, the more I think it elicits that kind of sympathy response from you. The older the protagonist is, and the passing of the torch and the death of the parents, I think you don't experience that, you don't connect with it in the same way, but you do, to your point, kind of empathize with the loss, right? Like, okay, I can understand someone so pivotal in their life, even if they were bad, right? Someone so pivotal in their life going, I cry when I think about losing my cats. So when I think about losing my mom and my dad, right? Like boo-hoo. So I kind of get that, yeah.
But would you go out and become a superhero?
I would like to think I would carry on the good things they taught me, whether that's considered a superhero or not, right? You start to really focus on, what, this is what they mean to me, and this is the kind of person they were. For instance, my grandfather, my mother tells me stories that he used to feed his whole extended family, and I carry that with me, right? He's long gone, but that in the back of my head, how can I be that kind of a man that can feed their whole extended family, right? And so when you have that passing, when they're no longer with you, I think you're more sensitive to that. Like, what kind of person were they? And how do I emulate that? Because I came from that. So, that's my perspective on it. But
that's a really good analogy.
Yep.
I agree. Martin?
What was the question?
Okay, this is a fascinating subject. All right.
Sorry. I kind of wandered off because I ended up having a question of my own that kind of came up.
All right, we asked that very next, but we were talking about why is it that the loss of a parent immediately catapults these heroes and heroines into a superhero dumb or something special.
Would you? I mean, would you like? Oh, my parents have died. I must become a superhero.
Well,
That's the next
okay,
step,
well,
isn't it?
oh, okay, so it's interesting. So like, okay, so yeah, I get. You have some characters that end up having like noble ideals that they want to capitalize on, and so they end up a lot of them if they lost their parents in some sort of traumatic way, then justice becomes something that they end up wanting to deliver, or wanting to mete out, or wanting to go and do. They want to go do justice, right? So
And
they have a motivation.
justice is one of the things on my list. Yep.
So they have a motivation to go and do that kind of a thing. Now, if we kind of fall into like a slightly different bracket, you have a character like Elektra who loses her parent, and she's not necessarily a superhero per se. I don't know if she falls into the villain category, though she's kind of villainous. She kind of falls into like the gray zone, because she does end up in the bad guys camp for a while, and then she becomes a good guy, and then she's not, wait. But her initial motivation wasn't necessarily justice, but retribution, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah. So like so sometimes the character will mask up, or go become the hero or vigilante or whatever you want to call it, or either retribution or justice. So perhaps
You said you had a question?
Oh yeah, so my question ended up being I was just thinking like, okay, well, what about characters that where no parents are referenced ever? Like, does that count as having dead parents? So I mean, there's a whole bunch of comic book characters, like, you may not have a clue about any of their backstory at all.
Right.
They're just running around doing their thing, and the only motivation that you know that they have is the motivation to be what they are, right? And so you're like, oh, okay, but no parents are ever referenced. Does that also fall into the bracket of dead parents?
And that kind of leads into one of the things that I was going to say about it. Is a lot of times parents are left out or killed off, so they don't have to be dealt with by the writer. The writer just wants to tell these stories. So either they ignore the fact that there are parents there, or they kill them off so they don't have to deal with them.
Oh, can
It's
you just
a
see?
level of complexity that they don't want to deal with.
Can you just see this? Oh, honey, before you go out superheroing tonight, change your underwear. I do not want you to go to the hospital with holes in your underwear.
Yeah.
That would make a fantastic story.
I know, son. When I was young, we didn't have any of these superhero things. We did everything ourselves. We walked uphill twice a day to school.
Cassisi, you're taking notes for the next character?
I know. I'm thinking of the old guy who says that wasn't called a superhero. That was called going to work or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, honey, let me just press your cape before you go out, okay?
Right.
I can just see all this stuff. Let me feed you. All this, the parents, and I can just see. Actually, that would make a really funny comic. Mom, I told you, quit bugging me. I'm trying to save the world. Save it on an empty stomach.
Invincible has some of that. The mother is like that in that book. If you've read Invincible, because it's a passing of the torch thing. The parents are there, and the mother is kind of like that. She's well, come and have some blintzes before you go out and do your superhero thing. Or whatever.
I put a protein bar in your backpack. your bat belt.
When are you going to bring your girlfriend over?
Yeah.
Well, Mom, she steals jewels for a living.
Son, where does Oh, that reminds me of a joke. Am I allowed to slip a joke in here?
Yep, sure.
So the mother visits her son, and the son and the girl are roommates, and the mother's like, well, so you guys have nothing going on between the two of you? And she's like, no, nothing's going on between the two of us. And so the mom goes home, and then she gets a call from the son, says, "Mom, the silverware that has disappeared. Do you know anything about that?" And she goes, "Well,
Oh my
if your
God.
girlfriend slept in her own bed, she'd know where it is."
I've heard that one before. All right, I'm going to have everybody name one famous either Disney character or DC or Marvel character who has at least one dead parent.
No.
Martin?
I mean, Batman is the easiest one.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Batman's the easiest. Yeah, go ahead. Just jump in. Just jump in. It doesn't matter.
Sorry.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's good.
Martin?
So Batman, he's the one. Okay, Martin.
Well, how many do you want me to list?
Just go for it.
Right.
I'll stay in the Batman family. Fine. Nightwing.
Yep. Died in a circus accident.
Yep.
So he thought.
And I just went blank on what I had.
Haley?
Oh.
Think Disney, Haley.
Disney, yeah, Simba. Dude, Mufasa's death, that was a sad one too. That's up there with Bambi's mom.
Very good. Good. Yeah, very good example.
And then he was raised by a warthog and a meerkat.
Yeah. Parental substitute. What was the word? Yeah.
Yep. Simba. He lost Mufasa. Any more Disney characters?
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course,
I mean, I've got one
was
that's
mentioned
not-
earlier.
Huh?
Not
Bambi.
Disney or was someone else talking?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just jumping in. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I mean, Harry Potter's another famous one, not comics or Disney, but
Oh, didn't even
That's-
think of
yeah.
that one.
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
Very good. Very
Yep.
good. How about Rob?
Well, you've got a plethora of them all over the place. We mentioned Daredevil. His father dies in the first issue of Daredevil, and then I don't remember whether they deal with it in the comic books, but in the movies, Iron Man's parents
Mm-hmm.
were killed. So we've got that, and you've got and Captain America. His parents died of I forget exactly what disease it was.
His father died in World War One, I thought. His
Yeah.
mom had tuberculosis.
Yeah, it was TB that she had, and his dad died in World War One. So we could just go on and we could just riff forever. And you've got and then you've got the step parent replacements. You've got Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, if you go on the Disney route. You've got
Snow
those.
White.
Yeah, Snow White.
Yep. It has
So-
the evil step parents.
Yep.
So,
How about-
so
How about Finding Nemo?
Yeah.
yeah.
Lost the
I
mom.
remember, yeah.
Lost his mom. Yep.
Oh, I have 3 and 5 year old grandchildren. Trust me, I am all up in the Disney business.
Well, yeah, my 2-year-old granddaughter loves Nemo. She wants to watch Nemo 24 hours a day. So
Yeah. Well, it's neat. We went from Nemo to Frozen, which has
Oh yeah.
dead parents.
Yep.
So now we're on my 3-year-old granddaughter is on the Elsa kick. She wants her hair braided all the time. I'm Elsa. Yeah, but your parents are not dead, kiddo.
no,
that can
no,
be arranged.
on the Marvel side, Peter Parker.
Yep.
Yes.
His
Yep.
parents
Uncle
actually
Ben. Yeah.
did
Well,
His
then,
not
and
only-
then his substitute dies.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
but did his parents actually die, or were they just missing?
Depends on what origin story you
Yeah,
watch
there's
or read.
there's a couple of different
Originally, I
versions.
think it was a plane crash, and then they were secret agents or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
There's been so many
it's
rewrites. on,
convoluted now.
yeah. Yeah.
Yay, Marvel! Let's mess it
There
up.
we go. There's Black Panther, who loses his dad.
Yep.
Mhm. And you said Nightwing, Wolverine,
Magneto.
Wolverine lost
Magneto.
his
Yeah,
parents?
and that was a really tragic one too. Didn't his parents die in the camps?
Right.
Yeah, Holocaust. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm. And see, that was a
Yeah.
very tragic backstory. So he, instead of becoming, well, he's a superhero in his own mind. It depends on what
Right.
mindset you are. Everybody's a hero in their own mind. So he turned to, his nefarious ways because of the tragedy of his parents' death too. There's Black Widow. She went into the program when she was 5 years old. So we don't know if her parents are dead or if she was just taken from them. But she did have a babushka, a grandmother at one point. Any more?
Yeah.
The Flash and his mother, right? Didn't his mother die? Is that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one I'm not aware of, but yeah, yeah.
Because isn't that what Flashpoint is? Like him going back to save his mom?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't been following that at all.
But I'll take your word for it.
Yep. Sounds right. Sounds like an interesting story.
Like his original origin, but I know I got introduced to the Flash through like the TV show, and that was like the main like thing in the first season. Was like, that was his origin story. Like his mom got killed, and his dad was blamed for it, but it was really the reverse Flash. And so like his dad was in prison, so he kind of did lose both parents because his dad was in prison wrongly for the murder. And then,
yeah, they did that in the TV show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that played the Flash in the 90s played his father. Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like if you're going to have a superhero, you have to have a tragic origin story with dead parents. And I'm just as guilty as everybody else because guess what?
I was going to say
Divinity's lost.
Dead
parents.
She lost her parents. Yeah. And she still the substitute in her brother. Yeah. So there you go.
What'd you say, Haley?
In my comic, like I didn't do this intentionally, but it takes place at a summer camp for superheroes. So there's all these kids are there, their parents. There's some like parent issues going on, but most of them, their parents are alive. They're just not there because the setting is at summer camp. So there's no parents.
So you
and do that
them in a different way.
Yeah, they're off.
What I'm going to ask Kasisi this. What about the tragic origin story makes for a good hero's journey?
Well, it leaves room for all the subsequent things that you have to do on the hero's journey. Like I guess it depends on where in the hero's journey it happens, but that tragedy allows them to, if it's the main inciting incident or the point at which they turn, right, then you can do you can do everything else in the journey up until like they get their boon. Everything subsequent to that is kind of sparked from that big inciting incident of the major loss, right? And even if you have it at the point in the hero's journey where they've decided to turn away and now they're finally trying to pursue whatever that mission is, whatever the journey is, or whatever objective they're trying to achieve, and that kind of inflection point or the twist, you could still evoke everything else you need to on the hero's journey from that one tragedy, whether it's the inciting incident or the actual kind of twist that happens in it. They can get their boon, they can all that stuff. So
there's a lot of movies where we see the hero lose his loved one like a fourth of the way into the movie.
Yeah.
And that just further motivates him. I think
they mess up. And their mess up is the cause of it. Sorry.
I mean, look at the Peter Parker storyline where
exactly.
MJ dies, with their snap neck.
Or you mean Gwen?
That's Gwen. I'm sorry, Gwen.
Gwen Stacy. Yeah.
Gwen Stacy dies with the broken neck.
Yeah, that one broke my heart.
Somebody was
love Gwen
thinking. Somebody was really thinking. Who wrote that anyway?
I forget. Was it Roger Stern?
Stan Lee?
No, it wasn't Stan. Stan wasn't writing at that point. It was. I'm thinking Roger Stern, but I could be completely wrong.
I cannot remember.
That's a Google search.
But see, that's the kind of writing I would think. I always think logically. I'm like, that wouldn't work in real life. I mean, the velocity and the gravity, her neck would be like that. Somebody finally gets it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, and my husband, and whenever we're watching TV, and there's bad guys in their car chase, and he's like, "Just shoot out the tires, you idiots!" I'm like, "Have you got any idea
how hard
it is for a tiny little bullet
to hit a
Yeah.
speeding target. It's a lot harder
Yeah.
than you would think.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that simple, honey. So yeah, absolutely. What?
Yeah, so Jerry Conway wrote the Gwen Stacy story.
Okay.
Oh, Jerry Conway.
Yeah. He was writing.
Yeah, and see that actually made a lot of sense to me, because I like to look at everything from a logical point of view when I'm writing. Which
I hate to say it, but MJ was the one for me. So
at least she didn't die.
Oh, I liked Gwen. I liked Gwen. Yeah, but MJ's cool though. I like MJ too. But
I don't know.
Yeah.
So for some reason, when I was a kid, I read that. I don't know if it was in the newspaper or what, but there was somewhere where it's like, you hit jackpot, Tiger. That was the line, right? Like there was like, that's the girl, that one, her. She knows what she wants. She knows what she.
She's got a lot of confidence in herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
do you think the hero, dead parent trope is overdone?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Haley?
Probably, yeah.
How would you circumvent it and still come out with the hero's journey? I'm hearing crickets.
Make them part of the conflict. You make them part of the conflict. You can make the parents be the ones that are an obstacle for the hero to overcome. They're totally against him doing him or her from doing whatever they want to do. So that's one way to overcome it. And another one is, as we were discussing earlier, make it kind of an in joke kind of thing where, yes, here's the candy bar to go on your utility belt. So that kind of thing.
We were talking about that earlier, Roland. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm really, really guilty of using that trope, aren't I? With divinity.
Yeah.
But tropes aren't necessarily bad if you use it
Right.
in like interesting or new way. You can still
Yeah.
Everything everything's been done before at this
It's
point.
even hinted at in Twilight Grimm that he's
Yeah.
lost his mother to the vampires. It's hinted at.
And I needed a reason.
Right out in the open.
I needed a reason for Zach and Vinny to go on the road. And obviously the parents aren't going to let it in 11.
It has to be an inciting event, an inflection.
It doesn't necessarily make him or her a hero or a heroine in the hero's journey, but it's the catalyst that sets them together and on the road. So it's not necessarily about revenge or justice or anything like that. They're just scared us, and they're running. So, but it's still a dead parent trope, I admit. So, how would you get around it?
If your question is how, if you still have to include dead parents, how do you make that interesting? Or are you asking? Okay, there's a ton. You could have the response be that you're happy. You could elicit the total negative response or unexpected response to the family being dead. You could have it so that the reason the family is dead is because I killed my family on purpose. There's so many really weird things you can do to make that death not the normal type of death, right? Or it was always foretold, so we always knew it was going to happen, and the town is happy because of it. And then you unlock why, and that spins a whole new story or something like that. I don't know. There's plenty of ways to include the death and make it a new story. But I think what's overused is your parents died, and now you've become this hero, this Hulk, this thing, right? And we all go through the exact same story all the time. You want to seek either justice or retribution or vengeance, or now that they died, you want to prevent that from happening to any other child and their parents. That's kind of overdone.
Yeah.
To me, that's personal opinion. But
Roland makes a good point there too about guilt.
Yeah, guilt is a great burden to carry around. It usually leads to alcoholism, however.
Or excessive melancholy.
Yes.
Thanks.
Lots of antidepressants. I think it would be fun to have the parents around. Like every time, my son has never been on time for a family dinner in his life.
And there, and
He's
now you have a
almost
story.
40. He's almost 40 years old. Never been on time in his life.
Well,
He's
there
in
you
the
go. Now you have
military. He's in the military. What is it? He can do it for the military, but he can't do it for his mom.
So there you have a piece of there you have a piece of slice of real life you can incorporate into a comic story right there.
Yep. Why are you
And
late again?
people will relate.
I was out saving the world. Right. Okay. What was the real reason? You saw that girl down the street, didn't you? Yeah.
Well, Peter Parker used to do that with Aunt May all the time.
Yes.
He would be late for stuff. So yeah, and his aunt would always berate him for that. So yeah, you got that. That's one way to deal with it. Sure.
Although I hate stories where the characters have to lie. I don't like lying. So I think it would be funnier if they knew. If they knew, and you have to work that into the story. I mean, look, Superman's foster parents or adoptive parents, because he lost his parents because his parents are dead. His adoptive parents were knew what he was, and they steered him, in the right direction. So I like to see more stories where the parents are still alive.
Speaking of Superman, my boys love Superman for All Seasons by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. So if anyone ever wants a great story, that's a fantastic 4-issue story. Superman for All Seasons. So,
now
cool.
I've seen stories where Iron Man or Tony Stark's parents are still alive, and his father is just a dick. Sorry, Dick. Sorry, hubby. What's it?
Brett Cat is Cat and Mouse.
Is still alive and will be part of her story.
Part of his story.
His story life. Oh, good. That's good to know. We are going to see a parent. How would you write a parent in, Haley?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to see, I thought that would be interesting to see a story where the parents are involved, for the kids. Yeah, because like you said, I don't like it when they're lying, because I've always had a good relationship with my parents. Maybe I was way too good of a kid, but I never lied and snuck out or anything. So I'm I don't want to see
that was my siblings. I was the
I'm I want to see them have a good relationship with their parents, and the parents be, if they're a superhero or whatever, the parents be on board with it, but still wanting them to be safe. Or even if I guess I'm just describing The Incredibles, if the parents are part of the adventure too, they're all superheroes or they're all doing whatever, maybe a passing of the torch, but they're not passing the torch yet, maybe kind of in training. So it's the parents are apprenticing the kids in their way.
Roland, I was a perfect child until I promised my parents I would not smoke, drink, or have sex until after I turned 18, and I kept that promise. But boy, midnight on my birthday, I was in a bar.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure God. You went, wow, girl.
All right, so I'm speaking from a military mom's point of view, okay?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's a whole different deal.
My son has been in the military for 20 years. He's been to Afghanistan twice, Iraq 3 times, and other various places that haven't are not in theater. And it has given me a perspective on what it would be like to be a parent of somebody who is always in danger, because you just never know. There's a part of you that is incredibly proud of what your child is accomplishing, and then there's a part of you that is always scared. But in the end, what you are doing is you are as much a part of their journey as they are, because you are supporting them however you can. For me, it's babysitting the kids. I'm tailoring their uniforms, putting new stripes on, whatever, it's being there for them and handling their affairs when they can't be there. Before he got married, when he was deployed,
we paid all his bills out of his account. He had our name on his account, took care of his apartment and everything like that. So we were his support system. And I think superheroes need a support system too. So
Sounds
Yep.
like
Well,
exactly.
the TV Superman had his parents still alive, and that was the role that they fulfilled when he had a moral question he needed to talk to someone about, or his parents to go talk to. So yeah, they can be written in. You don't have to kill them off to necessarily to spark the story. I mean, it's an easy trope to use. Unfortunately,
It's
that's
an
why
easy
we're
trope
talking
to
about
use.
it tonight, because it's too easy. It's
My-
too easy to use.
my son
It would
signed up.
actually be interesting. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
No, go ahead, Barb.
my son signed up after 9/11.
Yeah,
There's your
at an
origin
inflection
story.
point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
So go ahead,
Sounds
Cass.
like you got the roots for something there, Barb.
Mhm.
I'm busy with one already. Go ahead, Cass. What were you going to say?
I guess I kind of think it would be interesting to have parents who where the son or daughter that is the superhero is lying to them, but the parents know, right? And so the parents show up when the superhero is at a vulnerable point because they know, and they're there to kind of show them the wisdom of the thing, whether it's a fight they can't handle, but they understand. They've been there, done that, and understand, even though they're not superpowered, how to do it. And so they're either covering for their child or teaching their child something, even at that age. Or you can have like the person who's been there and done that, and the rebellious superhero child thinks they know everything. And then the parents show up in like this situation that is like intense and just owns it. And so the child gains a new respect for like that older generation of a thing.
There. DC
Oh,
comic
I've
we
read
talked
that
about.
one. Yeah.
Oh, tell us about it then, because I
I
haven't.
like that one. Yeah, I think I
I've
have
purchased
the,
it. I haven't read the first.
Yeah,
issue or
I
two
think I
yet,
have
so-
the book
I've
here.
heard all about this book. Is how great it is. I have not read it,
Yeah.
so
So I really like the artist. I love her
Haley,
style.
you're
Yeah,
up.
so
Yeah,
this
it's
is the
quite
book.
good. Yes. Yeah, good looking
Yeah,
stuff.
so this girl, yeah, she's like in foster care, and and I think her like dad is a villain. I don't want to spoil too much, I guess, but it's cool because she acquires like these paints that are like some kind of like weapon under testing, and like each color gives her a different superpower. Like I think there's a cool, I don't know where it is, but it has like a list
Yeah.
of all the powers. Yeah, here's one where she's like, oh, this one
Yeah,
makes
for
her
those who
fly.
say,
and, like,
no great new comics characters have been
Yeah.
created, here's one
oh yeah,
right
and
here.
then this one like makes her grow really huge. So there's it's very cool. And let's see if there's like,
So where are
Let's
her parents then? What you said? Her dad's a villain. Where's her mom? Let me guess.
I don't, maybe she's dead. I don't know if it mentions the mom. Oh yeah, there's the list. So here's like all the different, there's like so many different powers. So I think I probably saved a picture of this somewhere because I was like, that's some good, if I'm ever like stuck and need a side character and come up with some powers, like there's some ideas.
Hold that page up again.
Yeah. There's a
list
so yeah,
of powers.
she has a list of three.
Wow.
So I guess they're each color gives her a power. So yeah, take a screenshot, anyone who wants to. Yeah,
Let me guess. Her mom is DEAD.
probably. I don't know. But yeah, but her foster parents, I think, yeah, it's been a while since I've read it, but I think it's kind of like she's been in and out of like the, foster home,
Foster
whatever.
system.
And she's like, oh, I'm not sure this one's going to stick. And she's kind of like, I think she kind of is like running away and rebelling. And then the foster parents like find out what she's doing and like support her. And then she realizes like, okay, actually these people might be good. Like maybe good parents do exist. And I think like, they end up adopting her, whatever. She stays there with them permanently. So
Yeah, unfortunately, we always hear the horror stories of foster parents. We don't always hear the good stories. There are more good foster parents out there than bad, but we only hear about the bad.
Yeah, it's
foster
like
parenting
everything else.
has gotten a bad rap.
If it bleeds, it leads.
for sure.
Yeah,
So-
the bad
so-
stuff always makes the news.
Foster's created a nice fun. Yeah.
Yeah, very positive.
Yep, there you go.
Opposite
Cool.
of the evil stepmother.
I have to grab I've got a stack of comics like this big to read that I need to find time to sit down and actually go through them.
I need a
That's one of
stack
them.
of comics to read. If you want to send them over, I'll read them for you and then give you the rundown.
Yeah, I got a whole thing here
Give me
too.
the what are those called? Those little yellow books?
The Cole's Notes.
Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
Cliff
Notes.
Notes.
Cole's
Yeah.
Notes. We had a store up here called Cole's, so we called them Cole's Notes. Yeah, so I was just going to say, if you incorporating parents into the story, you can do all sorts of interesting things. You can have the conflict between one parent and the child, where they're all constantly bickering and fighting with each other. You can have the support network approach. You could also like maybe even have one of the parents become like the hero needs a whole bunch of gadgets or something, so the parent could be the gadget guy, or
the man in the chair.
So you can do all sorts of or maybe maybe one of the parents is really good at reconnaissance, and they do the recon for them, and then they feed they're like so sewing the outfits, or so there's all sorts of different things you can probably do to make it interesting. But if you want to focus on the main character, you can just have them come fly by every so often. Where's our Thomas Florimonte drive-by? So you could always have the parents just come in and out and just be like side characters or something.
I'm a really good sewer, so I can just see, Mom, you made him too tight in the crotch.
So yeah.
Did you watch?
Too revealing.
No,
this isn't DC or Marvel, but
yeah, go ahead.
When I think of parents, oh no, go ahead, Rob, go ahead.
Well, didn't they deal with that in one of the Superman movies where Clark's mother made his costume and she made it a little bit too tight and revealing of his manhood? I think they mentioned something about that. So
those dangle bits.
Yeah, exactly. So go ahead, Cassisi. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. When I think about parents in superheroes, this isn't DC or Marvel, but did anybody see like Glass?
Yes.
M. Night Shyamalan, and how the mother is to her son, who is the villain, and how Bruce Willis is to his son. Like Bruce Willis's son runs reconnaissance for him, who is the superhero, and then the mom for Glass, I guess Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
Is like they're all into comic books, so it's kind of weird because in one way she's supportive of him because he's
special
in spite of his disability, right? Yeah, doing big things, but that relationship is a really weird relationship, but a good one, a weird one, but a good one in a movie that deals with a superhero and a supervillain's relationship to their children, I guess.
It would be like being the child of a serial killer.
For one side, yeah. For one side, it was. But I don't think she saw it that way, which was really weird. It was really weird in the movie because she would never frame things in that way. She would always frame that he was doing something special.
I liked your earlier idea about the parents knowing, but the superhero not knowing that his parents know. And then, he shows up late for Thanksgiving. Oh, Mom, I had a flat tire. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
that'd be good.
Well, we knew all along, honey.
Yep.
That would be cool. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways a parent can be a support role instead of being dead. Like, I know it's a good jumping off point for the hero's journey, but there's other reasons and ways to kickstart our hero's journey. Like I said before, my son 9/11 really, he was 15. He was 15 when 9/11 happened, and it was a huge impact on him. And that day he decided he was going to join the military, and that was the start of his hero's journey. So there doesn't always have to be a dead parent trope. There's so many other ways you could approach it and keep the parents alive, or at least one parent alive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Any other observations?
Insights or observations? Yeah. No, I think you summed it up there, Barb.
Oh.
While it's overused, it doesn't have to be the only way you can do the sorts of. It's an easy way to do the inflection point of a hero's journey, but there are actually we need to kind of push that one aside and start finding new ways to have.
Yes, it's
the spark.
overdone.
Yeah, it's
Son?
way overdone.
So when's the last time you changed the oil in the Batmobile? So many things.
Freudian slips would be hilarious.
Yes.
Wait, what? Hang on. Whoops. And then they look at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of if any of you seen those books. That's like, it's like if Darth Vader was a good father, and it's like him doing like father things with Luke and Leia, and it's super cute.
I have not. That sounds funny though.
Style, like that's what that makes me think of.
I've seen some Father's Day card jokes about Darth Vader and Luke. Yeah.
I can just see Darth playing baseball and going, hold that lightsaber like this. You know, you can.
Yeah, there's probably one like that. Yeah.
Oh man.
Any closing comments you want to make, Martin, about the dead parent trope?
Let's see some parents that are alive.
More alive parents.
Yeah.
How about you,
Just
Rob?
as interesting. Just as interesting. Yes. Can be.
Seriously, I would so buy a book where you've got meddling parents. So buy that because it would be so funny. Because I'm a parent. I live to embarrass my children. I mean, why do you have children? It's not to embarrass them.
That's right.
It's the whole
You
purpose of having children.
need to give them the cantankerous old school Jewish parents.
Yes. Yes. How about you, Cass?
I think even though I feel like it's overused, it's not necessarily dead parents that I don't, I would say don't do anymore. Just give it meaning other than what we've seen a billion times, right? Give it
Justice
flavor.
and revenge.
Give it a new spin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if the parents are dead, maybe the whole story is before that. That sounds very weird, but even though the current state, maybe your parents are dead, what was the story before that? You could go into, stories that have your parents in it that shaped that kind of event right there. I don't know. I'm sick of seeing my parents die, therefore, I want revenge, therefore I do a thing. I don't know. It just gets kind of old.
Sorry, I just realized it's raining again.
or dead parents for the purposes of trauma.
Yes.
Right?
There's all kinds of ways you can get trauma. I mean, you can see your best friend drown or something like that, but it always has to be the parents. It doesn't necessarily have to be the parents.
Yeah, it could be
Kill off the kid brother,
a disability, or any of a number of things. Yeah.
Or a sister had had bad things to happen to her, stuff like that. So it doesn't always necessarily have to be death that motivates a person.
Right.
Okay. Well, we're 2 minutes from 8, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up because I think we've run this subject to death.
You were waiting the whole night to say that line, weren't you?
Now we would just be beating a dead horse.
Oh no!
But I'm dead right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You killed it.
Oh wow! Wow!
I am Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Prepare to die.
I don't think you know what that word means.
There. That. Roland has a point.
There you go. There's a good one.
Wanda Pietro's dad. Yeah, Magneto. That's a messed up family, definitely. Okay, everyone. I am going to call it for the night. So thank you for coming along to our fun party. We always seem to get off topic or just kind of ramble, which is not a bad thing, So as we like to say in Silverline land, when we sign off, So say that 3 times. Silverline land.
Make
Make mine.
Make mine Silverline.
Silverline. Okay. Oh, I gotta find the. I gotta find the step out. Dang it! Where is it?
Oh, I've got one.
Martin.
One right
Yeah.
I can't find it. I can't find the stop button.
We'll just keep going.
I guess we'll have to go for another hour.
Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hey,
Good night.
I'm G-Rod. Make mine Silverline. You heard me.